if you want to make reading your thing in 2026, you can do it. If I could do it, someone that completely gapped off school, and even while I was in the military, I didn't really like reading books, but eventually I kind of came around to it. I'm telling you that I know you can do it. But the reason why it feels like it's so hard is because of the way that you may have been brought up through school and the experiences that you've had with books. See, for me, whenever I was growing up, I kind of despised reading. Like I enjoyed reading while I was in elementary school, but as I got older, I cared less and less about books because the books that I was being forced to read or the options that I was given were not things that I was genuinely curious about. I do have a couple of books from my childhood in like middle school and high school that stand out to me, but there were books that I remember like because it was effortless to read them. And so that's the biggest thing as like getting started is I think a lot of people they'll tell you that you need to read this book, then read this book, and then read the. I don't like to do business that way, or I don't like to tell people that that's what they should do. For me, I think you should read the things that you're genuinely curious about because if it's something that you are actually curious about, not like I feel like I should learn this or I feel like I should read this, like it's something that when you pick it up, you're like, you feel like you need to read this because you're just so interested in what's inside. That's the first step. You know, if you don't know what you're curious about, it's like the you don't know what you don't know type of thing. So just pick a certain subject or something that you want to focus on, and then just do a Google search or just look up some YouTube videos. You can find some here on the channel and just figure out like, okay, well, this is kind of what the ballpark of what I'm interested in, and figure out what those top books are around that topic, and then you can just go deeper with that. And now some of you might be like, well, I really just can't stand the fact of like just sitting there and reading a book. And I totally understand. So this year, the way that I would start is by just simply you can get an app like Audible, or if you don't want to spend any money, you can just go to YouTube and you can find a lot of audiobooks there. And you can search online and you can find audiobooks and start with an audiobook. And some people are going to probably maybe they'll roast me in the comments for saying audiobooks aren't reading. And I get it. Like listening and receiving information through your eyes are two completely different things. But the most important thing is like it's similar in nature because it's receiving information, but the most important thing for you, I think, is to just get started and to make the first step as easy as possible. And for me, that was what was super easy for me was just to read audiobooks or listen to audiobooks. And whenever I started listening to audiobooks, it really encouraged me to start getting the physical book. And now what I like to do is I like to listen and read the physical book at the same time for things that I'm really trying to focus on reading. And until you can make something a habit, you want to try to build an identity around what you're trying to do, right? So identity based beliefs are really what are like when we can form an identity around what we're trying to make a habit, it's a lot easier to stick to that habit. So I'm someone now that I feel like I identify as a reader, but that didn't happen overnight. It took me listening to audiobooks and doing that over and over again and kind of getting that feeling of like, wow, I am actually consuming books. And that made me feel like it gave me confidence to want to keep listening and learning more. And now what I like to do is I just like, I have tons of books now that I've bought and I've read. And I don't say that to brag or anything like that, but I'd say that to give you hope because for me, I was not anybody that, and still to this day, don't get me wrong, I still have times where I don't feel like reading and I don't want to read at all. And I think that's human nature. Like there's going to be times where it requires a level of effort, and to do these things, right? Don't put a whole bunch of pressure on yourself, but to do it whenever you want to do it, and just like if you're trying to make a habit out of it, just try to do just 2%. So some days you're going to want to read a lot, some days you're going to not want to read at all. But I just say on those days you don't want to read at all, just try to show up and do at least 2% of that. And so you're still, even though you're only doing 2%, 2% might be like 2 sentences for that day. But you're still forming that identity around being the reader. So I think it's great. Books have all these benefits that come with reading and listening to them. And I don't like to I don't want to talk bad about anyone because listening to audiobooks is better than a majority. I don't know. I don't have any statistics to stand on, but I think a lot of people don't even listen to audiobooks. It's more common these days than it used to be, but a lot of people I don't even think listen to audiobooks. And the last time they read a book was probably after they got out of high school or whenever they got done with college. That was the last time they visited a book. And here on this channel, we're lifelong learners. We're all about self-education and trying to just better ourselves and learn more and just kind of explore our curiosities. And so, the whole thing is like what I always say is like, keep learning, keep growing, keep going. I try to live that every single day. And that's the kind of community that I'm trying to build here. I wanted to quickly say this. I'm probably going to have another video come out before the end of the year, but thank you all so much for 100 subscribers. As you know, I had another YouTube channel that has 80,000 subscribers. It's probably like 85, 86,000 subscribers now. But I decided that I wanted to create this channel and built something around something that I'm really passionate about. And so thank you all. I can't believe we've already grown to 100 subscribers in 6 months. It makes me feel good to know that I'm helping other people. So keep learning, keep growing, and I'll see you in the next one.